Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Have Talks with Anthony. Today we're going to have a cyber conversation. For those that are new to the channel, we make mental health conversation content that's going to be beneficial to your personal development in addition to your well-being. However, in today's conversation, we're going to be talking about how to handle criticism constructively, right? So strengthening your mental resilience. We got to realize that things are going to come our way, but we're able to navigate through with that positive mindset. You heard? So criticism can hurt, but we don't have to let it harm us, right? So let's take that in consideration, right? But when it comes to research, let's dive into that. So learning to process feedback constructively supports emotional regulation and resilience in teens. However, teens who, view criticism as a, information rather than a personal attack show better mental health outcomes, right? So we got to take consideration, not just for teens, but people in general out here, right? So don't take it as attack. Don't take it as someone's trying to judge you, someone's trying to, guilt trip you, trying to manipulate you, trying to get you caught up in the sauce, right? But just take it as a way that is going to support your growth, right? Constructive feedback helps us navigate through improvement, ways we're able to look at ourselves in ways that we can't see, right? So people could see other things that we may not see, or blind spots, etc., and we're able to look at that information, but internalize it, right? But not internalize it, right? To pull us down, but internalize it, really look at it, right? And really look at the good and the bad and really figure out ways we're able to improve the situation, right? So to strengthen us to have better outcomes possible, right? So not just for teens, but just for everybody in general. But I really want us to look at that research and really digest it as I just mentioned. However, let's dive into our first segment in regards to why criticism feels so personal. Why we taking it personal? Why does it feel like, it's really cutting deep, right? So first key concept, developing identity, right? So teen brains, for instance, are still forming self-identity, right? So making feedback feel more intense, like, why are you coming at me? Why are you talking to me? Right? So if someone's developing, they're trying to figure out themselves, they're internalizing a lot. There's a lot going on within the mind, right? And they're trying to conceptualize the information and really put it in the region where it's supposed to go. And it cuts deep when it comes to teens, for instance. So I really want to take that in consideration on developing identity. Next, emotional sensitivity, right? So criticism can activate stress responses, especially when self-esteem is developing, as mentioned, right? So someone's feeling some type of way from it. However, fear of judgment, so social evaluation strongly impacts teen mental health. Judgment, that's why bullying, all these different things, etc., impact to one's mental health and in regards to how they feel and their emotions. Next is going to be not weakness, right? So feeling hurt by criticism is a normal emotional response, not a flaw. This is something that a lot of us have issues with, something that we all have to navigate through with. Like I said, we don't got to internalize it on a negative standpoint as if someone's trying to pull you down. However, we can take it in ways to improve and move forward, as someone is seeing blind spots that we may not be seeing. However, this is something that we feel and how people take it personal. Moving forward in regards to our next segment, we'll be talking about the mental health impact of unhandled criticism, right? So negative self-talk, we have those, the internalized dialogue, we have the self-sabotage going on in our mind, right? We're pulling ourselves down with the negativity. So internalizing criticism can increase anxiety, self-doubt, right? So it's making you feel like you're inadequate. That's why it's really important, guys, to work on your self-esteem, journal if possible, have the solitude, mental health, and counselor if possible, and really work on these internalized thoughts, having the self-care system down packed for yourself. Everybody's different, but really working on positive things that really work for yourself, that's gonna help your health and your mental health, so you're able to have a balanced mind to be able to do purposeful work that you want to do out here, right? So avoiding that negative self-talk to unravel and underhandle that criticism. Next is going to be the avoidance and shutdown, right? So fear of criticism may reduce participation and motivation, right? So this plays into it, right? When you're dealing with that criticism. Next is stress and overload, right? So repeat negative feedback without coping skills and tools increase emotional strain, right? So that's why it's really important for us to have mental health and self-care regimen, like for us to be able to have, for instance, we're having a rough day at work, we have a lot of responsibilities, a lot of things that we did, we got all the tasks done, but we just feel burnt out. What about our self-care? What are we gonna do when we get out of work? Some of us will come home, we looking at our kids, we just projecting on them, our frustrations, and sometimes that's why when we look at people's behavior, it's not even about us, it's about what they got going on. That's why it's important for us to recognize how we respond to the circumstance and the situation, right? Also to our environment, what's going on in the environment, because that situation, the environment is pulling us down, right? So that's why it's good for us to be able to have ways, able to have the tools and techniques to be able to navigate through the distress, the negativity, the depression, the anxiety, and how we're gonna manage it, right? So I want to put that into this video as well. But pulling it back, let's talk about growth barriers, right? So taking criticism personally can limit learning and that confidence as well, right? So don't let someone hold you back from your attention, right? From your growth. Take the information, right? Hear the good, hear the bad, take what's beneficial for you to improve and keep it moving, right? We got to keep growing, we got to keep moving, we got to keep doing what we have to do, all right? Don't let someone hold you back or dim your light, you heard? Next segment, we're going to be diving into reframing criticism for mental clarity, right? So separate the message from the tone, right? So feedback may, be poorly delivered, but we are still able to have that useful insight as well, right? So with a positive mindset, looking at in a way where we're not going to be able to take the information too personally, but just listen to the information, right? Process it, and then take what's useful from it. That's the way we're able to navigate through proactively, right? But we understand the tone, the way that someone talks to us, plays into that, how we want to go into the conversation, how we feel, right? But I want us to take into consideration too of that, right? Don't fall in too much of the message, right? Separate the message from the person, right? And just take the information accordingly with a positive mindset and keeping yourself regulated and calm. Next is information, not identity, right? So criticism is not just about the behavior or performance. It's not your worth, right? So just like I said, look at the words, right? It doesn't define who you are. Ain't nobody defines who you are besides who? Yourself, right? So don't let someone trick you outside your position, someone talk down upon you, whatever the information is, right? Just look at the information. And like I said, focus on improvement, focus on growth, right? That's what we want. Next is going to be pause before reacting, right? So slow yourself down, calm, keep yourself regulated, right? Don't let someone, like I said, trick you outside your position, right? So slowing yourself down is going to really be able to get yourself emotionally regulated and having that reactivity, right? So pause before you respond, pause before you react, pause before you speak, right? Think before you speak, right? Next, we're going to talk about that growth and that mindset, right? So for instance, for the teens who reframe feedback as learning, show higher resilience, right? So slow yourself down, keep yourself composed, right? Listen before you speak, and then this is going to be able to help you navigate through as challenges arise in your future and in your life, right? Next segment, let's dive into healthier ways to respond towards that criticism, right? Criticism, people always going to have something to say. People are always going to say, you're supposed to be doing it this way when you're supposed to be doing it this way. It's always something, right? So at the end of the day, people are people, the mind's complex, different experiences, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to have a different response for whatever it is, right? So what can we do? Asking for clarification questions, right? So understanding reduces defensiveness and stress, right? So when you ask someone a question, someone has you do something, so there's no criticism for that. So whatever, just ask, advocate for yourself, right? Whatever feels like, disingenuous, something you got a question, something that feels uncomfortable, whatever arises, speak your mind. Speak your mind, ask questions, clarify. Next is going to be practice emotional regulation. So it's important for you to make sure that you have these skills. It's making sure that you have what you need out there to navigate the world and individuals as well. So, right, so deep breathing, right, and grounding, keeping yourself calm and your nerves at a balanced level helps that nervous system as well. So I want to make sure that you have the skills, whatever works for you, whether it's walking, talking to someone, journaling, right? There's so many coping skills out there that we can do, but make sure we have adequate practice to keep ourselves regulated. Next is choose what to keep, right? So what works for you, right? So not all criticism is something that, it deserves, equal weight, right? So I'm letting you know, listen to the good, take the bad, whatever's going on. But like I said, we're looking for ways we're able to grow, we're able to improve. So take what works for you, choose what you need to keep. Next is self-compassion. As we're navigating through, difficult situations, we got to keep ourselves at a conducive level, right? So treat yourself with kindness, right? So protect your mental health, love yourself, right? Put yourself first. Once again, love yourself, right? Especially when we're going through distress, we gotta let ourselves know the same way we're able to treat someone else with exceptional service, a friend, family, etc., a baby, right? We gotta keep ourselves the same way, accountable in that sense. So self-compassion, loving ourselves. Next segment we're going to dive right into is building long-term, emotional resilience. We got to really be able to take consideration. Like I said, life's not Canland. We're going to endure challenges. We're going to endure criticism. We're going to endure these uncomfortable situations. However, we have to be able to respond with healthy ways to be able to maintain our mental health, right, and our health. Right, so resilience is something that is learnable at any age. Young, old, doesn't matter. We're still able to learn and improve our ways. So emotional strength develops through practice, not perfection. I'll say it again. Emotional strength develops through that practice, not perfection. So the more we keep doing something, the more we put the effort into it, the more that we keep ourselves consistent, disciplined into that, we're going to navigate through it. We're going to get better over time. So don't focus too much on the outcome. Focus on being present. Focus on doing what you have to do to keep yourself resilient and strong and discerning. With that self-love, you're going to get through it. Support system matters, right? So trust adults, peers, to be able to help you give that adequate, healthy feedback to help you, you know what I mean, improve, get to where you need to be, right? Like I said, I obviously want you also taking consideration on professionals, right? You know what I mean? It's good to talk to your friends, family, right? But there's professionals that have the skills, that have the curriculum, the knowledge, the wisdom, right? To be able to help you get where you need to be proactively with your attendance, right? With your will that you want to get right? So put yourself around the people that are going to be able to help you get to you where you need to be and improve that mental health and even your health, right? Next is going to be taking considerations that mistakes are data, right? So errors provide guidance, not definitions of that success or that failure, right? And also too, when it comes to failure is success. You know what I mean? It lets us know that we're getting close to where we need to be. Also too, it gives us a sense of direction of where we at right now and how we're able to improve. You know what I mean? So take that in consideration. Last but not least, I'm gonna take consideration. Confidence grows over time. We gotta take in consideration that each constructive response builds, you know, emotional armor or gives us the strength. One of my favorite superheroes is gonna be Iron Man. You know what I mean? He put on that the suit. Strong, you know what I mean? You can do what you want to do, right? But you know, good things take time. You got to take that in consideration. But wrapping up this video, using feedback to empower yourself. Criticism doesn't define you. Once again, it's how you respond to it shapes you, right? So with regards to some research before we wrap up this video, for sure is constructive responses to criticism are linked to stronger emotional regulation, confidence, and long-term mental well-being. So resilience in teens adapt, reflect, and grow rather than withdraw. So I want you to embrace the constructive feedback. I want you to listen to the feedback, be respectful to the feedback, right? And take what works for you so you're able to grow and you're able to improve within your own ways. And regardless of what is thrown at you in resilient story, right, with problems, like I said, life is not Kaylin, you're able to navigate proactively. So if you found this video was beneficial, give it a thumbs up, share if possible, and I'll see you on the next one. Stay blessed. You'd be the best.